Hi guys, so today we're going to learn to make homemade Bisquick. I just about had a heart attack when I went to the store and I looked at a box of Bisquick because I've been making it on my own for years, and seeing how much a small box was, I was like, holy cow. Well, this is something I can show you guys and you'll be able to save. The small box I seen was like $7. So you can save some money making it yourself because it's all made with stuff that you should have in the pantry already. What you're going to need is 2 big bowls. I'm going to put everything in here to begin with, and then we're going to sift it through the wire strainer into here. And then that's when we'll add our Crisco. I like this Crisco because it's buttered flavor and it adds a little extra something to the mix. And then you'll need baking powder, salt, flour, and then the utensils is a whisk, a cup, which I misplaced my cup, so I have a half a cup. You'll need a 1/3 cup, a 1/4 cup, and a teaspoon, and a pastry cutter. Okay, so let's get going to make this. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is get 10 cups of flour. So I'll just fast forward through 10 cups because I have to double it because I'm using a half a cup. So I have to scoop out 20 cups. So we'll just fast forward to that. Okay, so there you have your 10 cups of flour. And then what you're going to want to do is get your 1/3 cup out, and you'll want 1/3 cup of baking powder. So now, something that I've noticed making this is if you don't sift your baking powder, putting it into your flour, if it had big clumps, you'll get a big clump of baking powder in whatever you're making, and then it's a bit sour, that bite. So, and then 4 teaspoons of salt, which is another reason why I like to double sift it. And I was just double checking to make sure about the salt. And I'm going to also just put it in there because you see we have clumps. And then just kind of break it up as it goes in. Because remember, you're going to sift this all again. And then a 1/4 cup of sugar, believe it or not. So I paid almost $8 plus shipping on the sugar container off from Amazon. And then I went down an aisle in Dollar Tree where the dishes are. Really don't go down that aisle much. And here they have the same thing, same size, same everything. I could have saved close to $7 if I would have gotten it at Dollar Tree. Okay. And then again, just to make sure, just run it through your thing because you can get clumps. Okay, and then at this point, I like to take my whisk and then just whisk all of this together. This to try and this is really important because, like I said before, you really want this part of the mix blended because this should be nice and blended by the time you add your Crisco. And then you just pass it through this. You can either dump it or spoon it through. So I'll fast forward through that for you so you don't have to sit here because it'll take some time, but needs to be done. And can you see that? That's why I like to sift it through, is because you get those little balls of stuff, and it's not good for your mix. And then even though we sifted it and whatever, I just like to give it another good whisk just to make sure. Okay, and now that's all that's left to do is to add your shortening, which is 2 cups of shortening. And again, since I only have a half a cup, I'll be doing double. Now, I don't know if anybody has taught you or not. In order for the Crisco to not stick in your measuring cup, you rinse it with water first, and then it comes out a lot better. So, and then you just push it down in there. Also, if you are, even if you're using like plain Crisco or just plain old lard, and it smells off, or if it has a smell, don't use it, because then your Crisco has turned rancid, and unfortunately you would need to throw it away. You can't even use it to fry things with, because it basically it's rotten if it has a nasty smell. Also, if you smell that smell with, like, you wanted to make something that had nuts in it, and you went to go open up your nuts and they have a smell other than their nutty smell that they're supposed to smell like, they have gone rancid, and do not use that. It will basically, it's like eating mold. So you don't want to use your products if it smells bad, because all it's going to do is it's just going to keep getting bad, and then you won't have this nice mix. Now again, it's only 2 cups of Crisco, but this is a half a cup, so you have to double it. So I'm doing 4. Okay, so there's our 4. And just a little bit of extra. This so it don't go to waste. And then all that's left is you take your pastry cutter, or if you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use forks, and dip it into either your pastry cutter or your fork. Dip it into the flour first and kind of coat the one you're going to work on, because then it won't stick to your utensil as bad. And you'll want to do that in between so many cuts, is dip it in just flour that has nothing in it. If you forget, see how it's like coated here or globbed up here, it'll just do that, and then it's just a little more extra cleaning. And then when you are done making this mix, you can use it just the same way you make Bisquick. So if you have like I believe pancakes is, well, I use 1 cup of mix, 1 egg, and as much milk as I want to make. I like thinner pancakes, so which is why I don't have to use as much ingredients, except for I kind of double the milk. But yeah, you just do this until it's all cut in so that it's like really fine. No big chunks of Crisco. So I'll just be quiet, and then I'll speed this part up, and then I'll see you when we're done getting it all mixed. What I'm looking for is like big globs of Crisco yet that's not very small. So it's pretty well done. So when it gets to this point, what I like to do is I'll clean my pastry cutter off. And then I will, because my hands are clean, because I washed them before we started. And then I'll just go in and make sure that everything is broken up. And if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I don't like this. I don't like the feel of it. So, and then when it feels like it's all good, not an overwhelming of, you know, that it's all mixed together. Everything has Crisco in it. And just to make sure, you can take a handful of it, squeeze it, and if it stays like that, then there's enough Crisco in it. And then you take your container that you're going to keep it in, which I use this nice big bowl with a lid, and then I pour it in. And as you can see, there's nothing that looks like it was just not having powder on it. I mean, no Crisco. Everything was evenly mixed. And then you put your lid on it. And then what I do is I will make a little tag that says homemade Bisquick made on, and then I put the day's date. This will stay good for up to 6 months. So that's all there is to it, to making your homemade Bisquick. So hope you guys enjoyed this short little tutorial and you're able to save yourself some money making your own Bisquick. And if there's anything else that you want me to try and do, let me know in the comments. Also, as you can tell, I got my new tripod, so looking down, I hope the view and everything was a lot better. So thanks. Hit the thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.